Okay, we should be recording now. Is that me? For fuck's sake, instantly when we started.
It's not me. I got money. I don't have to drink the warm ass of beer.
Are you making fun of me?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying if it's warm, I'm not going to drink it. I don't feel like I'm being wasteful. I don't say soldier down and scream with 10 other people at a party.
I didn't know what that meant until my
Just
first
open
party.
into it. What, soldier down?
Somebody had to
Or
explain
left
it to me
behind
in
or
great
something?
detail. No, I think
Oh.
it is soldier down. I
I've had
remember the word
friends that
soldier.
just never stop saying it. It was so annoying.
Yeah, but you've got the insulator around the beer. It'll stay plenty warm.
Yeah, no.
I mean cold.
It takes me too long once I get to the bottom. I'd just rather have a new one.
I'm the type of alcoholic that I share my refrigerator with my roommate, obviously,
Yeah.
and it's exceptionally tiny.
Yeah,
and
it's a small one.
And we don't clean things out very often. I'm as guilty of it as she is. But I don't put my beer in there because it takes up a lot of space. And so I'll leave it in my room, and either I got to drink it that night or I drink it warm the next day.
Yeah, and you know what?
And I'm fine with that.
These beers are already not keeping too well. Cozy or no, the Cozy doesn't just work on its own.
I think we're doing fine with the Budweiser. We just bought it.
You
a few hours
gotta
ago.
wet the Cozy and put it in the freezer when you know I'm coming. Come on,
Yeah,
I got money. I don't have to drink warm beer. I got a big refrigerator.
All right, buddy. I don't even have a. We can't even go get a frosty beer at a bar right now. I got to get my ID renewed.
You hold me back when I come to Seattle.
I know. I got to get the.
I am honestly wanting to go to strip clubs with you.
Well, I got the haircut because I knew I was getting the new picture.
Yeah.
That's what I say is the reason. Really, I was just sick of it. I'm actually going to steal a joke from Dimitri Martin right now, but you can judge me for that if you want to.
God.
That's fine. But when you and I went in to get our recent haircuts, did we ask for the gay beetle, or did they just give it to us? I'm really not used to. I look at you, and you've got the short hair now too.
Yeah, we both got really horrible haircuts at the same time.
I tried out a new barbershop here on Capitol Hill in Seattle, and I thought going to a barbershop. I had nothing against the gays. Who doesn't love a gay? But I go to a barbershop, and it every time I've walked by, because I walk by it sometimes, it's old men, like grizzled old men that you would expect to work at a barbershop, whether it be on Capitol Hill or not. And so I get in there one day, and there's a guy that's exclusively dealing with walk-ins, which I was one, and he was a huge flamer. Well, that was kind of funny. I wasn't expecting it.
How much does it cost for the walk-in?
$22 for the haircut.
Wow.
What? How much did you pay?
10.
Wow.
Or maybe 11.
Yeah, well, that's
And my
regional
haircut's
differences.
no worse than yours.
No. In fact, mine's pretty bad. They left it a little too long on the top, which I don't like.
Oh, me too, big time.
And
But,
I got a little, is it called a bouffant
Yeah,
at the
I
top
think
here?
so.
Because the curls it's still long enough to curl on the top, and it all bunches up at the front of my forehead.
I was looking forward to having a nice short haircut.
Yeah.
So what you thought the flamer was gonna? The flamer, listen to me. Did you
That's
think
offensive, sir.
the gay man was gonna give you a really good haircut or something?
I assumed it would be good. Yeah, I actually almost thought I was getting a deal when I sat down there and I got the gay guy.
Yeah.
Because they know their shit. That same guy could work at a stylist, a style shop, and you'd pay
Well, it
$70
depends
for
on
that
how
haircut.
talented he is.
Yeah,
You don't just have
apparently
to be
not
gay.
very. Look at me.
Yeah. I was gonna go to the Supercuts, but my wife wanted me to go there, and then that probably would have cost me about $22, and I probably would have got a pretty decent job. But I'm pretty.
Supercuts has a bad reputation around here.
Really?
If you guys do end up moving towards Seattle next year, you can't go throwing around your love for Supercuts.
Well, we gotta find a good barber then.
You'll get jumped. Yeah, go to my guy.
Yeah. Well, when I think I'd like a gay man. When I was getting a chiropractic, my chiropractic work done, I was really happy. I'm so embarrassed around women. I just don't want them touching me. That's why when I got a massage, it was awful. I couldn't handle it because the girl was touching me. And
Was she an attractive girl?
Nah, not really, but it just
It doesn't
being a
matter.
girl.
I understand.
So I wouldn't want like even a semi-attractive girl cutting my hair because I'd just be embarrassed the whole time. And I like a grizzled man or maybe a gay man. My chiropractor was.
I think it's safe to say that we both suffer from certain social anxieties.
Yeah.
Which is why we've. I mean, you married the first girl you kissed. And
is that why? Maybe I'm madly in love.
It all ties together. We've always dealt with a certain amount of awkwardness having grown up, and I still find myself that way when I get invited to an actual party and not just hanging out with the two friends I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
So I still struggle with that. I hate to be an advocate for alcohol, but it really helps sometimes. If I limit myself, which I have a hard time doing, I have a very addictive personality.
Yeah.
That struck me today when we're sitting here in preparation for the show. We'd gotten some food. We were watching some Anchorman. We were passing the pipe around, and there's a certain point where you're done with pot, at least for a while.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I recognize that I'm high.
How much higher do I need to get?
Yeah, but I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Until I fall asleep, basically, if I have the means. And it's not just pot. I mean, it's that way with cigarettes. It's that way with alcohol.
Yeah.
I recognize the problems that I have. And there's an intervention waiting for me around the corner. Every time I get invited anywhere, I'm suspicious now.
You think they're gonna come down on you hard?
Yeah.
Do you get called out on?
I'm just hoping
for
the A&E cameras aren't there or whatever channel that's
Well,
on.
I mean, if they ask you to do a documentary about addiction, you know what's going on. If they ask you to spell your name, if at any point you have to sit down and say, "My name is Nick N-I-C."
I think I'd be onto that pretty early on. And
Yeah.
plus, I'm a pretty boring study. I can't see me stretching out to an hour's time. Because I'm not a very exciting drunk.
They're gonna.
I want to either fall asleep or just mumble to myself.
But they always
sing
seem to.
occasionally.
I'm not saying the producers pay for your drinks or anything, but they always seem to find you kind of at your very worst.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know if these people on the show like actually go to these. Well, let's say the ones for alcohol. Like, if they actually go to these bars every single night and act like this every single night, you know what I mean? They got to catch you. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't know either. Are you saying that they couldn't afford it on their own?
No.
The show's supporting their
That's
habit?
not what I'm saying. It just seems that they catch you like on your wildest nights. Like, you who fear an intervention, it's not like you go out every night and get stinking drunk. I think maybe they follow you for 2-3 weeks and then just cut together the very worst nights.
Oh, I see. Well,
Not to say you don't have a problem.
in my case, I literally do drink every night
Yeah.
to the point of excess.
I do sometimes for a while.
But usually it's indoors, and I'm just watching movies and not disturbing anybody.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't.
It
shouldn't be the things against it. Shouldn't be so much the social
Tell me
aspect
this.
of it.
Tell me if you think this
It's
is
bad.
accurate.
It's bad for your health.
I have my friend Haley. I was introduced. Haley's been my friend for about 3 years, and I was introduced to her mom for the first time. First of all, Haley's super Christian, and so I assumed her mom would be. Not at all. She came out and smoked a cigarette with us, me and Margaret. We were joking about, we forgot to bring the pod. And her mom's like, I wish you had. Jokingly, of course. But she seemed like a pretty hip
So how
lady.
is Haley? Is this woman like fell out of being a Christian?
No.
Or Haley just found it on her own?
She did
In a
find it on her.
school club,
I
perhaps?
just found this out. She went to a Christian school. Her parents thought it'd be good for her, and they weren't necessarily into religion at the time, I don't think. But it was just a good school for her to go to, and they could trust it. And then she found Jesus that way, through schooling.
School.
Yeah, and I think her mom believes, but her dad doesn't. Margaret was over there too, my other friend, and I'd met her mom for the first time, and within 20 minutes in casual conversation, Margaret decides to refer to me as a functional alcoholic. Is that fair? I still make it to work pretty much on time every day.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see you so much on the day-to-day.
That's true.
I think I'll take your friend's word for it if they're worried about you. I'm not worried
I was
about
kind of
you.
offended, and I was kind of flattered, because functional, that's
Ba-
usually
basically,
positive.
let's say they made this intervention episode about you that Margaret and Haley called the producers, and
You're giving them ideas.
yeah, exactly, and you played dumb and pretended not to know what was going on. So Margaret and Haley, if they called the producers and they make an intervention about you, and they contacted me and wanted to be in it, I wouldn't be a part of it, I don't think, because I don't know that about you. I don't know that you drink too much.
You
I'll
don't
never-
know?
No.
You just assume that when I come see you
Well,
on weekends, it's a weekend. I'm relaxing.
I feel like I'm drinking almost as much as you. I don't drink that much every night. Do you?
I don't want to make this a contest.
Yeah, you're right. I do lag behind.
What would you say you average on a weeknight, a night that you've worked and you've came home? If we're just measuring it by beers, 12-ounce beers.
If I've worked and I came home, 5 out of 7 days of the week, I'm not drinking beer at home. You know what I mean?
So you're not drinking at all that night.
Right.
You're way better off than me.
If it's a solid week of just me coming home. But occasionally, maybe once, twice a week, I will go to the bar next door after work and have a beer or two, depending on how much money I made that night. And then when I'm at the store, I'll buy a 12-pack every now and then if I'm grocery shopping, and we got the debit card.
Right.
I'll throw some beer in there, and then when I come home from work, I drink one or two of those every night until it's gone, and then maybe a week later. I don't know how many beers that averages.
I don't know either, but again, you're way better off than I am. I'm worried for my own safety. I'm wishing
really?
This was an intervention.
For what? Are you worried about your health? Or are you worried that you don't
well,
drive?
Sure, I'm worried about my.
Yeah, my main thing when I drink, I hate it.
Well, you have a child. One.
But even before that, even when I really started watching Oz,
okay,
because Beecher goes in there for drunk driving and killing a girl, and then he has to go to prison, and then he's raped over and over again, and then yes, I have a daughter too. When I drink and drive, I hate myself for it the next day. And it's like, and it's not so much like, oh, I could have hurt somebody, because more often than not, I'm just going to get pulled over for weaving. But like, I'd be fucking myself over if I got a DUI. I'm so stupid sometimes. But you don't have to worry about that.
I'd like to tell a story really quickly.
Okay.
We were both living in Yakima. I had my apartment there. And I think we were coming back from the casino. Is that correct? You know what story this is?
Yeah, we had stopped at McDonald's wherever we were.
Yeah, and it was pretty late, probably past bar closing time.
Yeah,
which here
right
is
in that
2
prime
a.m.
hour.
Yeah, and we were literally outside of my apartment. We had gotten all the way there with no troubles, and then you got pulled over. It was my car, but you were driving.
And we got did we already say this is in Yakima where cops are just prowling?
Yeah, I think we've touched on that a little bit before,
Yeah.
but people that don't live there don't know.
In fact, this night was the first of at least one other encounter, and then one social encounter with a cop who pulled me over another time, and he was an asshole to me the other time too.
Yeah. So we get right in front of my apartment, and you get pulled over. Were you weaving, or was it you changed? Was it a wide lane change?
I turned wide, yeah. Turned wide.
Or wide lane change.
I was turning left, and I took it wide. I took it into the right-hand lane.
I've been busted for that.
Which was
in
so
Yakima.
fucking stupid, because I didn't need to be in the right-hand lane. You lived right on that corner. I needed to be in left-hand. There was no reason for me to do it.
Yeah.
And I knew the cop was behind me, and that's probably why I did it.
And so he went all out once you got out of the car. He was. Did you reek of alcohol, I wonder?
I don't know. I had drank, and I think that was pretty obvious.
So he actually gives you the test.
Everything. He made me do everything.
The finger on the nose.
Uh-huh.
Did he make you do the alphabet backwards, or is that
No.
I've
I would
never
pass.
seen that outside of a TV.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He put the flashlight in my eyes. I had
a contest for later on in the show is you're gonna do the alphabet backwards.
No. I couldn't do it. If that cop, that's a ridiculous thing for a cop to ask. I don't think that's ever happened.
Yeah.
But
you did walk the line, though.
Yeah, walked the line. Had to stand on one leg and hold my other.
Did you sing "Walk the Line"? He probably would have let you off.
Yeah, the Joaquin Phoenix movie hadn't come out, so I didn't know anything about Johnny Cash. I didn't know there was a Johnny Cash. But yeah, that was fucking dick. But yeah, so
I remember you schooled me that night though, because
I was talking on my ass.
I know, but I totally bought into it. You'd gone through the tests, and then he made you come back to the car.
Uh-huh.
And so I was already sitting in there, and we were having a discussion as he was doing whatever it was he was doing in the front.
Which I hate doing. I always think they have microphones or something.
And so the story you spin at the time is that, okay, if I'm over the limit, then I'm just over the limit. Because he gave you the breathalyzer thing too, right?
And I saw like the result.
Do you remember what the number was?
It was like .081 or something.
And what's the law here in Washington?
0.08.
0.08?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, you had blown just over the limit. Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay, and then so you come back to the car and you're like, "That's not an official read. By the time we get to the station,
some guy had
my
told me
alcohol
that.
level will have dropped and they can't hold me for anything."
Yeah, and my theory was that he knew that by the time I got an official test, that I would drop way below it. Because getting arrested would be a sobering experience. Like, once I saw the results of that breathalyzer, I felt I was in the clear.
So you're telling me this bullshit, and I buy into it the whole. Well, no, I didn't believe you at first. I was like, "There's no way. We're totally fucked here."
We were right across the street from your house.
Right
I
across
told the
the
cop
street.
that at least 3 times. I was like, "We're right
That's not
there.
gonna help.
We're right there.
You know that wasn't gonna help.
Let me
anything.
go home."
So yeah, and then the guy came back and he let us off. He didn't even give us a ticket of any kind, did he?
No, he didn't. The
I
funny
think they
thing
want to
was,
get. It's all or nothing with those cops.
early on in the thing, in the whole process, which was just when he asked for the registration and proof of insurance, there's no insurance on the car. And I've gotten plenty of those tickets, and at the time they were probably $500 right around there. He got so wrapped up in trying to get me for a deal, like that was his goal. Like that was their goal for the night. It was probably
so then
a
he was
Friday
just
or
deflated
Saturday
by
night.
the end.
Yeah,
If he realized he couldn't have you, then
he didn't
that
even
was it.
remember about the no insurance thing by the end.
Yeah.
I was so cocky. We were right across the street, and then this guy Wayne, who worked at the Caribbean Casino,
yeah.
happened to be standing right there. So we went inside. It was
Watching
so
your
fun.
walk of shame.
We were excited. I was so glad to get out of that. I remember I was talking on the phone to my wife. I must have lived over here in Western Washington. You lived in Yakima.
Yeah, there was a time.
And
Isn't that funny?
I was talking to her when we got pulled over. And then when I called her back, like we were in your apartment, and that guy Wayne from the casino was there. So weird. I just saw him a couple days ago, too. That's weird.
Did you guys reminisce about this night?
No, we don't talk
bet he
about
misses
this
me.
night. But then I called my wife, and I said I was in jail, and I needed like $1,700 bail. And she's like, "I'm sorry, buddy. I just can't do it." I was laughing. Oh. Not that I do anything like that at my job. I don't steal from my job, I'm proud to say.
I was going through a rough patch.
Well, at my job, you never know what's going on. Sometimes the managers just go on firing sprees, and they're cleaning house or whatever. And I've been there 3 years, and, you know, I'm kind of an asshole at work. Kind of really mean to everybody, so I'm always afraid I'm going to get fired. And anytime they say that, where just like you say, where they go, "Oh, I want to talk to you in the office," that's it. And at this point, I just asked. I was like, "Is this good or bad?" Because I don't want to take that walk not knowing.
I still get that fear.
I don't want to be ambushed. I don't want to go into that office and have them close the door and not just be able to turn around and walk away. So I beg and plead with anyone who my friend is at the restaurant. And if they're listening now, maybe they'll abide by it, which is to please call me. If you know I'm going to get fired because...
Will you just not show up?
Right. In that restaurant...
See, I wish I'd gotten that call.
Yeah. In that restaurant, if someone's going to get
If nothing
fired...
else to save face, right?
Right. If someone's going to get fired at like 4 o'clock that afternoon, everyone by 10 a.m. knows it. And so I always tell people, like, especially their bartenders, I'm like, hey, just for any reason you ever think I'm going to get fired, because I have a lot of write-ups and stuff. I never know which one's going to tip me over the edge. Like, just call me so I don't come in.
But isn't it better to be fired for just bad behavior or whatever it would be in your case, like being an asshole, than to be caught stealing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No legal repercussions, at least. You just have a bad reputation in the waiting biz.
Right. Well, yeah, I think I've developed
I'm not
that.
saying you do. I'm just saying that. Never mind.
I'm saying that if there is such a thing, I probably have it. I worked at 2 restaurants, and it's awful.
So what
hopefully I'll
makes
be
you an
moving
asshole?
this-
You're just not willing to put up with people's shit, right?
I just pretty much what I do at work is if if like I'm just annoyed by a person in general, I'll use anything I can to hate them. Like if they're breaking the rules of the restaurant, like all of a sudden I care about the rules of
I'm
the
sorry, you're
restaurant.
talking about coworkers or
Yeah.
customers?
Oh, no. I'm so nice to all my customers.
Okay.
Never a customer complaint. Never.
Interesting, but
But-
you still had a lot of write-ups.
Oh, yeah. This is
Is that
all...
for things you've said that have offended people?
No. My write-ups are for things like there's probably a couple of being late. There is some, I don't know, some bullshit things.
Sex in the manager's office?
When people run out without paying their bill, like they dine and dash,
Mhm.
which stop doing. It's not fun.
How often does that happen?
I gotta imagine in a city like this pretty often, because in Yakima it happens on a semi-regular basis.
So you're saying in Seattle, even more so?
Probably.
Yeah, I would guess.
I would
I do it
guess.
all the time.
There's signs in restaurants I see that say like you have to pay before your food comes and stuff like that.
But as a waiter, you know to watch for that shit, right? If
Yeah.
they start seeing one
But
off
see,
to the bathroom one at a
that's
time.
the thing. I can see it coming from a mile away. I even tell the managers, like, I'm pretty good at spotting now, and tell the managers, hey, you know, keep an eye on this guy. And they're so passive, they're so non-confrontational that they will let the person walk out. And the same guy did it to me like 3 times.
Your managers are letting these people walk off?
I swear. This guy would come in, leave without paying, came back, sat at my table again. Oh, what I was trying to say before is that when someone runs out without paying, you get a write-up for that. Unless you want to pay for it out of your own pocket. No matter what the circumstances, you get a write-up for it. So he does it, I take a write-up for it. Then he comes back. I tell the managers, oh, this is the same guy. He goes out there, the manager goes out there, and this guy tells him about it must be his twin brother. Literally says it must be my twin brother. The managers say, okay, serve him his food. Bring his food out, and then there's like a big-ass hair in the middle of his food when he's almost done with it. Gets the meal comped. Comes in the next time, runs out without paying again. By the way, I get this guy every fucking time because I work in the bar. And that's where they seat just single customers is in the bar. And does it. And he left without paying, and I chased him down the street because I told the managers, watch this guy. And I remember when I said, I don't even want to serve this guy. They go, well, remember, he did say he had a brother. I go, but he's been in here twice claiming to be different people. So even if he did have a twin brother, one of them is repeating their appearance right now.
It's simple math.
Yeah.
That reminds me, actually.
I'm not done yet.
Okay,
hang on real quick. So I had to chase him down the street, right? And then some other big, fat, fucking homeless kid in Yakima, like, is his little buddy, like Lucas Haas and David Arquette and Johns.
Yes, of course.
Do you know the movie?
No idea what you're saying.
They both have gay sex in it. But yeah, and then like they call the restaurant. Like I walked him back because I was going to get my third write-up for it within 45 days and get fired. Because you can't do that. So I bring him back to the manager, make him come back in. I tell the manager, there, I'm in the clear now. It's done, and I'm not serving this guy anymore. Manager said something to him. I don't know what was said. I didn't get the write-up, and that's the closest I've ever been to being fired. If I didn't chase that guy down the street.
Which you were willing to do. Would you have done it if your job weren't on the line?
No.
Well,
maybe. I mean, it pisses me off that this guy not only is thinking I'm so stupid, but then like the restaurant is kind of backing that, like giving him no reason not to think that.
I can see that being frustrating. The story I was going to tell, this just happened. The corner store that we went to get this very beer. I go there all the time. It's right up the street. But yesterday I was there, and some people have a real passion for their jobs, no matter what the job. Yeah. And there's this younger guy that works there. I'm pretty sure he's gay, but whatever. It's Capitol Hill. And there are a lot of homeless people around this area, and so they come in there, and I'm sure they're stealing shit right and left. But he's always got an eye out for them. And so I'm waiting in line to buy cigarettes, and this guy runs from behind the counter because he sees the homeless guy walking out with some chips. And so the guy's running because he realizes he's being chased now. And the clerk literally runs out, leaving the store unattended, by the way.
Did you leave with a carton of cigarettes?
Yeah. And throws the guy on the pavement.
Wow.
Throws the guy on the pavement, and I couldn't imagine myself doing that in that situation.
You know, I kind of can though. It's just when you see it enough, I guess it just boils over. Like this guy leaving, I wouldn't have taken that third write-up and gotten fired. I would have paid the whatever fucking $10 so as to not get a write-up. But when you see it and you think like these people should not be getting away with it, and like even if your boss is telling you, oh, don't worry about it, don't pursue it, like. You got to put a stop to the people, you know. Remember that guy in the AMPM in Tacoma who was also probably gay? Man, we loved that guy.
Also definitely gay.
Yeah, and we used to hang out that fucking guy in the AMPM, loitering. He loved us.
What color was his hair? I'm
blonde. It was like kind of blonde and spiky.
Did we really like him?
He kind of like Dak Shepard. Yeah, I remember when I told a girl I loved her over the internet. Even though she lived across the street, literally across the street.
Oh, is this what's her name?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. Like, I went to him at like 4 a.m. I was so distraught because he worked that late shift. We were always leaving the house and sneaking out somewhere. We go there, fucking hang out with that guy. And he kind of looked like Dak Shepard. And then he was so into his job there that when someone tried to steal beer,
I thought it was gas.
No, I think it was beer.
Okay.
He stood in front of their car and slammed his arms down with authority and said, "You are not leaving." And they fucking gunned it and ran him over and dragged him for like half a block.
They ran over a guy for beer.
And
he was all fucked up, huh?
He got himself ran over for beer.
Yeah.
For someone stealing beer from AMPM, who I think is going to be okay.
But still, he probably at no time thought he was in risk of being run over.
I would not jump and put my hands in the front of a
I wouldn't either,
because
because I've heard this story.
And I don't give a shit about the places I work for. I'm not one of those macho brothers.
You're definitely the more macho of the two.
I like to think so.
You went through a weightlifting phase, I remember.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
true?
With your buddy Chris.
Who?
Chris?
Oh, yeah. I never really lifted weights.
Oh, yeah, you did. And you would show me your guns. You were so proud of it.
I guess.
I recognized that you were actually building muscle, and I was a little jealous.
I think that the little bit of triceps that I actually built up, they've never really gone away. They're still there a little.
I wouldn't say the triceps still there. Your shoulders are broader than they were.
Oh, wow. That's not saying much. But I think, like, I'm ever in a bar situation with people who I know, and I go, "Hey, look at this," and I'll pull out the muscle, the little bicep and tricep combo, and they're always impressed.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at arm wrestling. I'm a good arm wrestler.
Really? You can't arm wrestle me. I'm left-handed. It doesn't work out.
That's true. It wouldn't be fair. I would annihilate you anyway. I've annihilated guys much bigger than you.
That's what I hate most of all. Whenever I've been challenged to an arm wrestling match.
Oh, I love it. I'm always the challenger.
See,
because I want to say you're making fun of me, but I can arm wrestle.
You turn the switch and you turn your baseball cap around.
You know it.
Is that a reference to
over the top?
Sly Stallone, yeah?
Yeah.
I've never seen that, have you?
Yeah, I've seen parts of it, I guess.
I hear the soundtrack's amazing in that.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. This is any other Sly Stallone movie. But yeah, I like to arm wrestle work. I'm good at it.
I'm not so good, and I recognize that. And so people, anytime I've ever been challenged to an arm wrestling match, my first response is, "Oh, I'm left-handed. Sorry," And then they're like, what makes it worse is then when there's girls around looking,
they say, "Oh, I'll arm wrestle you left-handed."
Yeah, as if that's gonna make. I'm obviously gonna lose either way.
I would arm wrestle you left-handed.
I know you would, and I won't do it. That's humiliating. That's twice. You feel twice as bad when you lose in that situation.
Yeah.
But left-handers are statistically proven to be more creative than right-handers.
Who is that?
I read that in a Southpaw pamphlet.
Two Dane Cook CDs. You're making fun of me for having one. What is that one? Metalination?
Retaliation.
Retaliation.
Yeah.
How does that one come with the DVD?
Critics, yeah, it does. Comedy Central.
Does critics mean like every other stand-up comic who calls him a rip-off artist?
I hear that about the Mencia, too. He rips off a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, I think I've heard that, too.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? Where do you get the balls to do that?
I don't know. Like, people aren't going to catch on. Even if you are a less successful comedian, somebody has seen it and will catch somebody else on Comedy Central or HBO.
Yeah.
And see what they're doing.
Yeah, why would they do that?
We used to be Dane Cook defenders. Do you remember that once upon a time?
Yeah, way back when, before. Well, I don't want to sound like everyone else, but before the whole MySpace thing happened with him, I don't think he's very funny anymore. No.
Was that the point of his detriment? Was MySpace?
I have no idea because I didn't know what MySpace was until way after everyone else. But I can tell you that I recently rewatched, or not even rewatched. I just watched for the first time Employee of the Month. And oh my god!
If you've rewatched that, something's wrong.
Yeah. First time, and it was just I just don't understand.
But your boy Dax Shepard's in that movie, right?
Yeah, I love him. But when people at work talk about Dane Cook, or anywhere, not just at work, anywhere. When people talk about how they like Dane Cook, my whole attitude is I liked him when I was 14 years old. You'd never heard of him. Me and my brother, we'd watch him, and he did the Monopoly joke. Where
he did do the Monopoly joke, which is on one of those CDs that I own.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's on his newest tour, too, according to everybody that talks about him. But as far as the MySpace thing goes, I don't know. That's obviously what helped him, right? That's what got Tila Tequila's show.
Yeah.
Doug Benson praises his MySpace networking.
Yeah.
That's
Hasn't
what
worked
made
out for
Dane
us so
Cook
much.
huge, and that's famous for Dane Cook, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But if you look at his fan base, the only people that have the nerve to still like Dane Cook, I found, are young girls.
Right. So when we watched him and we liked him, to make this point clear again, these girls had no idea what was going on.
Yeah. I do remember an early Letterman performance, and we remembered his name. We thought he was so funny.
Yeah, and our uncle kept trying to convince, oh, you're talking about Dana Gould from the sitcom Working.
Also hilarious. Sure.
Yeah, but that's who he thought. We're like, no, his name is Dane Cook. And it took a couple years, and then all of a sudden he was everywhere.
Yeah, more than a couple years. I think he'd been around the block a few times before he finally... Now it's just ridiculous.
What do you think? I mean, he's so disrespected in the stand-up community. What do you think it's like for him?
You've got to not give a shit if you're Dane Cook, I would imagine.
I guess, and you surround yourself.
If you're going to sleep at night, you just never pick up an entertainment news magazine.
Right. And he's probably got like a Vincent Chase status of friends and hangers-on who just support him deeply, and
his support base is huge.
yeah.
And he has...
Well, no, I mean as far as like a personal crew of people, an entourage, if you will.
Uh-huh.
That just fucking praise him, and they probably don't let him see any of those magazines. But I mean, he's got to run into other stand-up comedians who obviously are. I mean, it sounds like a sick soap opera, the behind the scenes of stand-up comedians, but so I'm sure word gets around to him and he hears.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty commonplace these days for comedians to shit on Dane Cook. It seems like.
Yeah.
On your big radio station.
Do you think if they could trade it all to be in movies like My Best Friend's Girl, that they would do it? I mean, I'm sure he's getting paid a lot of money for it.
But are those? That was going to be my next question. How well are his movies doing?
Oh, I don't think well. I don't know how well they're expected to do.
Even his fan base, who I'm sure are seeing the movies,
right?
That can't support.
Well, you know, The Dark Knight comes out and they think we have to make like fucking 190 million in the first week. When a movie like that comes out, they've got modest goals. They want to make. I don't know what those movies make. They probably make about 4 million in their opening weekend.
Better
no,
than that.
Better.
I bet they're projecting 15.
I think
20
Good Luck
on
Chuck
things.
failed.
Oh,
No, not 15, 20. But that Kirk Cameron Christian movie's in the top 4 this week, and
Fireproof.
yeah, and that made like I don't know, 2 million, 3 million, something.
And it was in the top 5.
Yeah, it was number 4.
Oh, bad week for movies.
Yeah, well, that's obvious.
Have you have cable?
Yeah.
Have you seen that Christian channel that Kirk Cameron often appears on? Or
I
at least used to.
I used to watch it all the time before I had.
Were you
cable.
high? That's the next
Before
question.
I had cable, and yes, I like to smoke during that. He is something else.
He's
It's about as entertaining as watching the True Hollywood Story of Growing Pains and finding out how nuts he was and how he got all his producers fired, calling them pornographers because he was living with a girl or something on the show. I don't even think it was even that racy. It was he was laying in bed with a girl as part of a play, and he called them pornographers. And he was such a huge star that that he got those producers fired. And then you watch him on these shows, and he's preaching all this stuff, and you're like, "Fuck you, man! You're so deluded, and you ruined people's lives." And who could you have been? Like, you could have been somebody.
Yeah, he was on the cover. You're right. His character, Mike Seaver, I believe, could have developed into something more if he weren't being such a prick, you know?
Yeah, that show.
Not that Growing Pains was ever a good
but
show.
You could look at it to where he was influencing the show to put Mike in a more positive direction. He didn't like playing a ragamuff, and that's why they made him a teacher on the show, and why he took in Leonardo DiCaprio, and look what that became. So thanks, Kurt Cameron.
Yeah.
You think Leonardo DiCaprio is indebted to Kurt Cameron, like he sends him money?
He probably does.
I remember hearing a story when Alan Thicke hosted Win, Lose, or Draw. He asked Leonardo DiCaprio to come onto the show or something like that.
Was this pre-Titanic, I should hope?
No, post-Titanic. This was obviously post-Titanic.
Good luck, Alan Thicke.
Yeah.
What was it? Oh, Kurt Cameron. Getting back to his Christian love affair. I see him on these channels, and have you seen his man on the street shit that he does?
Yeah, I have.
He'll confront obvious homosexuals and just quote them the Bible.
What
Tell them why their lifestyle is wrong and why they're going to hell.
This guy
I'm barely exaggerating.
this guy is something.
Yeah.
He's out of control, and
Fireproof is in the top 5.
I guess you almost have to have a certain respect that. I mean, he just doesn't quit with it. I mean, it's not like I don't know if he did it, but it seems kind of like a Danny Bonaducci thing to do or something like that. Or I don't know, someone who is really super Christian for all. Okay, Willie Ames' buddy from Charles in Charge.
Okay.
He was all super Christian for a while. He did Bible Man videos, and then
after his career hit.
Oh yeah, after his career, and unlike Kirk Cameron, he had big drug problems, and then he gave all that up to be on a shitload of reality TV shows now. Every true Hollywood story that has anything to do with what's his face, Scott Baio. Happy Days, Charles in Charge.
That's the way to go these days, though, right? Is reality shows.
And then
you
like
campaign
Celebrity
to me the
Fit
other
Club.
Day, that you and I should go on Amazing Race.
Yeah, I think we would annihilate on the Amazing Race.
I don't think I've ever seen a full episode of that show, but what would make us good? Don't you have to know geography?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. I'm in.
On the Amazing Race, what it seems like is they just get these teams, and I think that we could get on there pretty well. We're brothers, you know?
We're brothers. We have a podcast to promote.
And we bicker in a funny way. Don't you think? Oh, wow. Are you more harmed by our bickering than me? Like a passive-aggressive bickering, which is fucking the Amazing Race's bread and butter. Although there's a lot of ADR on that show, additional dialogue recording, where it's just all cut together and doesn't sync up, and they're just trying to make everyone look the fool.
That makes me question a lot of things on a lot of reality TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
How much of this is post-production?
You can hear it big time. Like, they don't even try to hide it anymore.
But I think dumb people
the dumbest of the dumb are watching the show.
Yeah, they don't recognize
it doesn't matter. The Amazing Race, I think it would be easier for us to get on because, we could say we're podcasters and we're brothers from Washington State. And
do you know if there's a drug
brothers
test?
From Washington State podcasters? And we'll stand back to back in the opening, and everybody, there'll be the frat guys that'll hate us. But you just got to keep a cool head in that show.
I imagine there's a lot of interviewing process, though. We've already touched on our
social
anxiety.
That's where but when you're sitting there being interviewed, it's such not. It's just like, I don't know. You got to imagine the producer just sitting there. We just say whatever absurd shit was on our mind. We just have to make an agreement beforehand to be like, let's win this $1 million, and let's try not to look like complete assholes on TV by just fucking bickering and letting your emotions get to you the whole time. Which on The Amazing Race is different. I just think we can get on that show easily. What I want to enter is Big Brother, because I guarantee victory. When I get into the Big Brother house, I will bet anyone $10,000 right then and there that I will win that show.
I like that it's when I get into the Big Brother house.
I'm studying. My strategy is going to be so perfect. I'm going to know exactly how to audition.
I'm not that familiar with Big Brother, but to give away a couple of... What are you planning on doing?
Okay, well, the show is like a series of competitions, mental and physical, to win superiority in the house, the head of household. You nominate people to go home. You can there's a competition where you can get taken off of the nomination block, all these things. So basically what you have to do is you just have to not let the game living inside this house get to you. Like, the girls on the show will get so upset with each other because one of them's like doing a strategic move and that fucks up their sisterhood or whatever they had decided when they came in and said, we girls are going to stick together, and they scream and yell at each other. So then whichever one of those girls has the most good friends, the house is divided, and then so many people are going to vote to evict you. And you can't do that. You have to completely be facading the whole time. You can't let anything you're doing in the house be at all indicative of your true personality, except for when you're in the privacy of the diary room and you tell America, hey, America, sorry I might be coming off a little bad, but here's what I'm doing.
So that's your
That's
strategy.
how I'm going to win. And I've been saying that for 2 years, and everyone fucked up. Everyone who's won that show has been by complete luck. But this last year, I was like, I think this guy's doing the strategy. He's doing my thing. Exactly. And from week 2, even though I swear to God, this guy, Dan, I love you, Dan. If you're listening somehow, I think you and I would get along. Come to my house. Get me on to Big Brother. From week 2, even though he got nominated like 9 times during the season, he's going to win. I kept saying, I tell my wife, we always make bets on those kind of things.
Of course.
I think the mother-son are going to win this year on The Amazing Race. I predict that.
What about
I almost
Top Model?
guarantee it's
Where's
true.
your money on Top Model?
Don't watch it. Fucking theme song makes me vomit and I leave. But yeah, I'll win. I'll win Big Brother.
Right on, buddy.
I said
have
from
total
week
faith.
2, this guy's going to win because he's playing it perfectly.
If they have a brothers edition of Big Brother, we should go on together.
You know,
You just
I
have
was
to explain
thinking
everything to me on the plane.
sometimes they do weird little twists in the show, and I was thinking we could pitch to them a great twist to where we're in the house because it's supposed to be like 13 strangers, but sometimes some of them have previous relationships that the house doesn't know about, and you're not supposed to let them find out, but the fucking jackasses do 48 hours in. To where we could go in and we'll look so much alike, and how everyone always tells us, "Oh, you guys must be brothers." But our thing will be we have to convince them that we're not brothers the entire time. Like we do not know each other at all. We get in fucking fights and stuff like that. If we pitch that to Big Brother and audition, let's do that instead of The Amazing Race.
So what you're saying is we should put a donate button on our website, and people should fly us to LA. If we're gonna make this happen.
Yeah, and send us an application of how to get onto Big Brother because I don't want to go on to CBS.com. but yeah, we'll win. Whatever show we go on, and then it'll be good publicity. It'll be better than Twitter, and we'll say our one-liners, and everyone will love us.
Don't you dare badmouth Twitter.
We're very lovable.
Camel Crush, yay or nay?
I'm for it so far.
What do you like about it?
I like the option to turn it into a menthol, and I like the idea that you can give it to a girl if a girl wants a menthol. If you're a single guy in the bar. And I said that would be a good commercial to have a single guy in a bar.
They can't have
and the
commercials
girl
for
comes.
cigarettes.
Oh, they can't.
No,
That
it's all got to
negates
come
everything.
across in the billboard.
Well, no wonder they didn't do that. But that guy at the corner store agreed with me. He said almost the exact same thing I did.
Yeah?
He said, you're with someone who want the menthol, and then you give her a
What
menthol.
accent is that?
I don't know. What was it? It's your neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't know. His name is Sean, so...
Oh, that's a fake name.
Yeah.